Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the numerology for the collective for July 2021, and then we're going to dive in deep into the energy around your own personal life path number. Before we get into the reading, I want to mention I have a new service and I'm super excited about it. It's very much aligned with these videos that I put out each month. So if this is something that you enjoy, then I think this is going to be an offering that you'll also enjoy. So basically, it's called Understanding the Journey Q&A. So you ask the questions, I give you the answers or the confirmation or clarity. So it's clarity through the numbers, and it's basically energy and numerology fusion. If you purchase this service, it includes a free full numerology report, which is around a $22 value, absolutely free. And so really it's like, what questions do you have pertaining to your current circumstances? What would you like to know about where you might be headed? With this service, I'll use your own personal numerology report, which I will read both practically and intuitively, to offer guidance and clarity on your questions around career, purpose, relationships, or just life in general. This service is meant to help empower you for when you make your decisions and to help you better understand your own personal journey as you continue to move forward. So much clarity can be gained through a better understanding of how the energy of the numbers that our own soul purposely chose before coming to Earth and how they impact our daily lives and the purpose we are meant to show up to daily. So, feeling stuck? Need confirmation or clarity? Let's dive in and take a closer look. This service includes, again, your full personal numerology report that's free. That's going to be my gift to you. A message from the animal spirits, and then guidance and clarity for your most pressing questions pertaining to, again, career, purpose, relationships, and life in general. So if that sounds like something that interests you, then head on over to my website. Under personalized services, you will find this offering and you can book some time with me. I will also leave a link in the description box below. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the reading for July 2021. So July is a 3 universal cycle. And so collectively, we will feel the influences of this energy throughout the month. What's interesting is that 3 energy is often sort of larger than life, big energy that needs to be moving and seen. It's a very creative, fire-like energy that burns quickly. However, for much of this month, there will be opportunities to sort of stand back and become the observer. So stop, look, and listen before taking that leap. This month will ask you to find grace, not only for self, but also for others. Surrender and acceptance for what you cannot control or change will serve you better than jumping to conclusions or making mountains out of molehills when that isn't the mountain that you're meant to be climbing. Those things that you feel like you have to force, they're not for you, and it will be sort of impossible to maintain that energy. Effort is a good thing and needed to reach our goals, but there's a difference between showing up and putting in the effort as opposed to trying to force something into existence. So pay attention to how you're expending your energy here. Oftentimes, all we need is a change in perspective to shift our actions, which then allows everything to flow much more smoothly. No force needed. So this month, things won't always be as they appear. Pay attention to the details before making your mind up about something and allow some room for movement. Don't hold on to those opinions too strongly. Be as open-minded as possible because things you thought you were sure of or that you thought you knew might just surprise you. If you can loosen your grip a bit this month and go with the universal flow, then affairs will take care of themselves quite easily, without force. Give up the control. You're not going to miss out on what's meant for you, okay? It might not happen to your predetermined timeline, but what's meant for you will show up when it is time. You can't mess that up. I think that's really important to remember. What's yours will find you. Communication is going to be key this month. So remember, communication is a two-way street where all parties need to be involved for it to work. In your conversations, are you communicating or are you attempting to influence? I'm going to ask that question again. In your conversations, are you actually communicating or are you attempting to influence? There's a difference. Open the lines of communication without the need to influence the others involved. Also, pay attention to your mindsets this month. Thoughts create actions, which create outcomes. So, is a change of view or mindset in order for you this month? That's going to be key. Again, don't force anything and pay attention to your mindsets. This month is definitely an interesting energy. Things can happen as if by magic with the less force you exert. Yes, you will have to put in the effort, but when that effort shifts to force, then you are then getting in your own way and impeding the process. So pay attention to where it is that you are moving your oars and steering the ship along with the flow of the universe, and where it is that you have turned the boat around and are desperately trying to force yourself against the current, against the flow. Which one feels more sustainable to you? Go with that one. And presumably it's going to be the one that you don't have to force. This energy this month has a lot to show us in how to make life much more easy and to release the struggle. Life path number 9. So I pulled an animal spirit card for you all, and you got Badger Spirit. Badger's message to you all is be fearless and bold. So if there's anywhere within your life where you continuously make yourself small to make other people feel comfortable, this is going to be a month where you're going to be asked to just break free, break out of that, be who you're meant to be who you are, be yourself authentically, show up in a way that, you're able to express yourself fully and, without bulldozing other people, but where you're not minimizing who you are, right? Where you're using your voice and your talents and your creative expressions in a way that, again, doesn't minimize who you are. So this is going to be a time for you to communicate and ask for what you want, what you need. What is it that you need to feel like you are able to thrive? That's what you're communicating to people, right? If you need to set healthy boundaries this month or anytime, but especially this month, then set those healthy boundaries and don't be overly concerned about other people getting upset about that, because they'll get over it. Those are their issues to work through, right? If you're setting healthy boundaries, there's of course a difference between setting boundaries out of fear or whatever, and setting healthy boundaries, like that you need to be able to thrive. If people cannot respect those boundaries, that's their issue to work through, right? You don't have to accommodate their insecurities or their ego so that you can do what you need to do type thing. You need to look out for you this month. You need to be fearless and bold. Again, as long as you're not hurting self or someone else. So I think that you're going to have opportunities this month present themselves where you need to be a little bit more assertive in, again, asserting what it is that you need to be able to thrive or to feel like you have the environment to thrive. Okay. So I think assertiveness is going to come up quite a bit for you all this month, and just being able to say what you mean, but also say what you need, right? Like what do you, and it may be that the other person can't show up in that way, or they don't have the capacity to be able to do that. And that's okay. That's another discussion, but it's more about you no longer holding back what it is that you need from the relationship, what you need from the job, what you need from, the environment, whatever the case may be, no longer kind of holding your tongue when it comes to that to not rock the boat or to make other people feel comfortable. I think this is going to be a time, Nines, where you're really being asked to step up and step out into your own, where you're not, hurting somebody else, but you're no longer hurting yourself. You're no longer sabotaging yourself in a way where it's like you're not able to progress forward because you're too busy making sure that everything is tidy and neat and clean, if you know what I mean. So it's like just you're so overly concerned with not rocking the boat that you're actually hurting yourself in a way. So this is going to be a month where you are going to be asked to step into your voice and to use that voice and be fearless and bold around it, right? Like you are your own best advocate. So start that advocacy. I broke the month down into 4 weeks, and it's interesting because we immediately start the month off with this energy of that self-sabotaging energy of, again, just kind of like continuing to show up to a relationship or an environment that just completely drains and depletes you. And not because you don't know that it's happening, but because you don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to create conflict where there's already conflict, if that makes sense. It's like you're trying to please everyone and be everything to everyone. And in doing so, you are negating everything that you stand for, everything that, means anything to you. You're negating your own health. It's really having an effect on you. And so that, that might keep the peace in the moment, but that is not sustainable energy, is what I'm trying to get. That's the point I'm trying to make. It's not sustainable energy. And the person who is going to sort of, be affected the most adversely because of that is you. You're the one who's going to come out of here bandaged and scathed for trying to please everyone else, if that makes sense. So I just get this feeling like right out of the gate, right at the beginning, you're going to be faced with some situations where you can either, again, make yourself small and try to please everyone in the situation while completely compromising who you are and what you need. Or you can step out and say, look, I empathize with you. I understand that this is the situation, whatever the case may be. I'm willing to discuss with you, what we all need going forward, but I'm not going to minimize or completely compromise on what it is that I need to be able to thrive in this situation. So again, it's just, there's something to be said for compromising, but not when you're over compromising, right? Not when you're hurting yourself in the process. So I just see these opportunities at the beginning of the month for you to, again, either self-sabotage and because you don't want to face the conflict and set those healthy boundaries, or step into your power and stand up for yourself in the way where you're not manipulating or influencing the other person, but you're standing up for what you need and what is healthy for you, okay? So, and I know sometimes that can be really challenging for 9s, especially when you're sort of in your shadow energy, because 9 at your core, you are the humanitarian. So it is 100% in your nature to want things to be peaceful and harmonious and calm, and you want other people to feel taken care of and nurtured and happy and healthy and all those things. But what's key here is you can't do that at the cost of yourself. You know what I mean? Like you can't sort of self-sacrifice yourself in a way where you're actually hurting yourself to make everybody else okay. So I think that there's going to be some powerful opportunities at the beginning of the month to just really be selfless in protecting yourself, if that makes sense, right? It's like, it's not selfish. It's just you are really standing up for yourself in a way that maybe you haven't before. And that might ruffle other people's feathers. People are probably used to you being the one who will make things better, or who will sacrifice what they need so that the other people have what they want, or whatever the case may be. People might be used to that. And so when you make a shift in that, where you're starting to put yourself first and fill your own cup up first, that can ruffle some feathers. That can cause conflict. That is just part of it. But that's something that you need to be able to deal with and move through and, experience, so that you can be prepared for it when it happens in the future, and to understand that that's not your drama. That's not your issue, right? Them not being able to understand that you're doing what you need to do, that's in your best interest for your health and your sanity and for you to be able to thrive. If they can't respect that, that's on them, right? So anyway, some interesting opportunities for expansion and some evolution, I think, at the beginning of the month. So, just give yourself some grace as you move through whatever this is. And, if you're just not there yet, and you just can't quite get to that point yet where, you stand up for yourself or be fearless and bold, don't beat yourself up for it. There's no shame, but you'll know what it feels like. You're at least aware of it. So as another opportunity comes in for you to be able to do that, you can decide at that point if you're ready. And eventually you will get to a point where you're ready, because like I said, that energy is not sustainable. You can't continue to sacrifice yourself for the betterment of other people because eventually you're not going to have anything else to give. Okay. I know I spent a lot of time on that particular energy that first week, but I think that that's kind of going to be the driving force of this month. That's really going to have some really good lessons in there for you, and to help build up your confidence and your strength in being able to stand up for yourself and what you need to thrive. Second week of the month, seeing a beautiful, beautiful offer coming in for you. It feels very material. Could be resources, could be a job opportunity, could be, you play the lottery and you win big. It could be any of those things. I just see like this, it's very physical, so it feels very much like on the material plane. It could be that you are buying a house or selling a house and somebody buys the house. So again, just like financial rewards, there is this piece of the puzzle though where there's this part of you that needs to say yes to it. So it's kind of like this comes in for you, and be mindful of those mindsets, because remember what I said in the intro, where the mindset creates the action, creates the outcome. So be careful of those mindsets, because if this great opportunity wants to come in for you and it's there, it's knocking on the door, and you open the door, but then you start having those thoughts of like, oh, I'm not worthy of this, or I don't deserve this, or whatever, you could slam the door. Right? What's meant for us is going to come into us, but that doesn't mean that we are going to be open to receiving it, right? So we might not be fully aware of it or know how to work with that energy. So I just feel like this great opportunity is going to come in for you at this time, and just be aware of those, where your mind goes, like what you immediately think when this opportunity comes in. Is it like, oh, I don't deserve this, or oh, this isn't going to work out, it's too good to be true, whatever the case may be. Is it too good to be true, or is it that you feel you don't deserve it type thing? So just be aware of that. Great opportunity. It's very much supported. It's literally like the universe handing you this incredible opportunity or resource, but it's what you do with it. And so that's where it gets a little bit tricky. And I think that's also where Badger's message comes in of be fearless and bold. Say yes to it, take the risk, just jump in head first and just see where it takes you. Because this is very beautiful, beautiful energy. The third week, I definitely see you stepping into, it could be a couple of things. I see you stepping into sort of your creative life force. So you might have some great opportunities, some great ideas coming in for you. So it's kind of like, if you've always wanted to sort of write a book, then maybe you have the motivation at this time to really jump into it and just go for it, without putting too much thought into it, but just going for it, saying yes to where your soul wants to say yes type thing. I also see this energy as the more that you can go with the flow at this time and not try to force things, the more that you can go with the flow, I feel like again, it's going to be like opportunities and things sort of fall into your lap very synchronistically. It almost feels like magic. And so again, that's just you working with the universe as opposed to working against the universe. And so now these beautiful gifts, these beautiful things can come in for you, and you're going to be more open to receiving them and working with them. So definitely see that. But I also see for some of you a very nurturing energy coming in for you. Also could be like a mentoring energy. So if there's somebody, or if there's some area within your life that you've been looking to acquire mentorship, so some kind of mentor or teacher or whatever, or life coach or whatever, I see this person kind of coming in for you at this time to assist you on your movement forward. And this person could be assisting you in what we were talking about earlier, in being able to stand up for yourself and set those healthy boundaries, and know yourself enough to know when you're investing in something that's just completely depleting you, and when you're investing in something that's really filling you up, and being able to release those things that are depleting you and invest more into those things that fill you up, right? So this could be a great opportunity for you to get a life coach, see a therapist, see a doctor if there's a need for that, get a mentor, something like that. Definitely seeing very powerful, evolved, nurturing energy coming in for you. This could very well be your energy, but I also see, like, for some of you, this sort of teacher coming in for you. So be open to that if that's something that you've been looking for or you feel like you might need, because ultimately we're the ones that make those decisions. We're the ones that make the final decision in our choices in our life. But there's much that can be learned from healers and teachers and therapists and life coaches and readers or whatever. So if that's something that you're in the market for, then definitely take advantage of that and help them to help you, type thing. The last week of the month, this is really interesting. I definitely see this as a couple of things. One is there's something that needs to be released here. And I feel like this could tie back into what we were talking about earlier with like your you sort of stepping into your own and releasing that need to people please or to be sort of that martyr in the situation, releasing that and starting a different journey, starting a different story, right? Like creating a new storyline for yourself where you're not the victim in the situation, but rather you're taking the reins and taking control and going down a path that feels really good for you, as opposed to going down a path that feels really shitty for you, but really good for everybody else, if that makes sense. So, and I say that without judgment, because I know for nines, it can be really easy for you to, again, fall into that sort of trap of just having such a big heart that you want to help everybody. And, where you see things out of, in disarray, wanting to bring some kind of harmony to that situation. But a lot of times it's at the expense of yourself. And so it's done with a good intention, but I think that there's going to be a lot of opportunities this month for you to recognize where you're showing up in that way, where it's like, again, you are cutting off your arm to give it to somebody else, right? So it's kind of like you're again self-sabotaging yourself to be the martyr in the situation, even if you're not intending to have that martyrdom. It's in the end, it ends up depleting you. And so I just see this opportunity at the end of the month, just like at the beginning of the month, for you to sort of shift gears, and instead of like feeling obligated to show up in this way that is depleting you, to choose to go down a different path and to be the author within your own story, right? And it's like, it goes back to that whole idea of if something is depleting your energy, then it's not meant for you and you're meant to release it. If something is filling you up and invigorating you, then you're meant to continue to pursue that, right? So it's like, and that's not selfish. That is actually a very, self-soothing, self-nurturing thing to do. It's about self-care, right? And it's about having doing the things that will give you the most energy so that you can continue to do the work and continue to show up in the world in a way that actually benefits not only others, but benefits yourself as well. So I feel like at the end of the month, you're going to have an opportunity to see very clearly how you're showing up to a situation that might benefit everybody else, but that in no way really benefits you. And if anything, it's just leaving you feeling really depleted. And choosing to go in a different direction, to start a different journey, to create a different storyline, right? Because you have the power to do that and not get so overly focused on the things that aren't working. Because if they're not working and they continuously, continue to not work, there's a reason for that. And it's probably because it's not meant for you. So stop trying to force it into existence. Stop trying to force it to be meant for you. Go for the things that are meant for you, that make you feel good, that make other people feel good, right? When you feel good, then those around you will feel good just because of that energy. So I just feel like there needs to be like maybe a shift in direction, but take a closer look at like how you're showing up to the situation. Is it out of wanting to, your cup being full and you wanting to share that goodness? Or is it out of this sense of martyrdom of like, I need to save the world, even at my own expense? And again, I feel like there's going to be some mindset shifts here that need to take place, but it comes through the awareness. And just understand that it's not usually an immediate change in direction. It's usually something like the awareness needs to come in, and then we need to start figuring out the ways in which we can go about rectifying the situation, right? And that's a process. So I don't necessarily see it just happening immediately, but I think the awareness is going to come in pretty strongly for you this month. And that's good. That's a good thing. Even if it's uncomfortable, it's a good thing. Because then you can start taking action from that, right? Because again, the mindset creates the action, which creates the outcome. So, all right, nines, powerful month for you all. I definitely see a lot of transformation. I think I say that every month, but you guys you chose a really big, a lot of responsibility in this lifetime. Your soul felt ready to be able to accomplish the energies of the 9 and master those energies. And through that is a lot of transformation, and change and transformation is never comfortable, but where it leads you to is a lot of joy and happiness. So it's worth the journey. All right, 9s, take care. I really appreciate each and every one of you and your support. Thank you so much for listening, and I will be back again soon. Bye for now.